Hey, I hope you are having an amazing day today. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the 5 things you can expect from the teenage phase, teenage months, I was going to say years, teenage months of your Aussiedoodle. So let's get straight into the video. Number 1 is the stubbornness. In my experience with Jackson, he was very independent. He was very stubborn, as you can expect, similarly to a teenager growing up. His hormones, and I just feel like him growing and just being very curious, it led him to be a lot more independent than before when he was just a puppy slash baby. Be prepared for chewing, barking, almost talking back to you. I remember in my experience with Jackson, I would tell him to sit, I would tell him to lay down, or I'll tell him not to do something. And instead of kind of just like ignoring me or going on his merry way, like he would usually do in puppyhood, he would actually bark back at me, which was very surprising. So just be wary of that. Also, a little side note, just know that this is just a phase, whether it is increased nipping, increased growling, barking. Again, if you are consistent with training and again, just being very patient during this phase, it will fade away, it will go away. So again, do not punish your dog. Do not think he is a bad dog. He's just going through a phase and you just really have to understand that. One way to combat stubbornness is just making sure that he's always stimulated or make sure that there is something for him or her to do. Again, you just got to be very patient and consistent with training throughout this entire phase. Number 2, what you can expect is more energy, and with that, a more need for exercise. However, I still want to preface this that their bones, their body are still developing. So even though they might have increased energy, you don't want to exercise them too much. You don't want to have them go through strenuous activity because again, it could really be detrimental and hurtful in the long term for your dog's body. I talk about this all the time in my videos, but with physical exercise, make sure that you also exercise them mentally. Puzzles are a great way, Snuffle Mat. I have 2 videos on each of those products on my channel, so you want to check those out and how those work. Feel free to watch them, but again, it's very important to exercise them not only physically, but mentally. Number 3, what you can expect is their adult coat coming in and their puppy coat shedding. Again, this is just a very much so general insight that I've experienced with Jackson, so you may or may not experience this, but again, Jackson, when he was a puppy, his hair was actually very straight. He shed almost a lot, but by the time between 4 and 8 months, I would say, those were his real teenage years. It was really bad around the 6-month mark, by the way, with in terms of being very stubborn. But his hair actually, his puppy coat actually shed a lot, and he would actually shed a lot. Like this right here would be covered in fur, and I was a little bit confused and surprised because he is an F1B, and if you don't know, an F1B dog tends not to shed or sheds very minimally. Kind of what he is now. His shedding was just a result of him shedding his puppy coat. So you can expect if you have a if you have an F1B and has straight-haired coat as a puppy, you can expect that their adult coat coming in, and with that being curlier, maybe wavy, and with that you got to make sure and emphasis on make sure that you groom them every single day. Otherwise, their coats, their adult coats, the curly hair will get matted and tangled, and that can be really bad and irritating for your dog. So if you haven't set up appointments for grooming or anything like that, expect to do so because the earlier you start with them, the more tolerable they will be at the groomers. Number 4, I kind of talked about this on the first point, but that is increased curiosity and interest. I remember Jackson when he was around 5 months of age, he just loved to get his nose into the ins and outs of furniture, everywhere around the house, the apartment. Whenever we would go on walks, he would always have to sniff every single tree, every single bush, and I absolutely love that about them. So again, you just want to make sure that you are patient during this stage, and with that, letting them sniff and explore, and not only that, but allowing them to do so, giving them an environment, giving them an opportunity to do so, because again, they're learning about the world, they're still continuing to grow, and the best thing that you can do is really expose them to a lot of different experiences, people, friends, and things that they've never really come across before. It is very important to socialize a dog during this stage so that it really sets the foundation and they won't be scared or stressed in the future. And lastly, number 5, you can expect a little self-control. Going hand in hand with their increased independency, teenage dogs just love to explore, love to just get into anything, and again, they're not afraid to really try or do anything, and with that, not really thinking about anything. They just like to do and work and just have that little stimulation that they get when exploring / adventuring. During this teenage phase, they could come off as like forgetting their trainings or their commands. I remember when I would tell Jackson to sit or lay down or ring the bell when going bathroom, he would actually stop doing that. But again, you want to be consistent and just make sure and remind them of these commands and trainings. Their brains and minds are developing, so again, you just want to be consistent, and that is why I preach consistency so much, because it's in there, that knowledge, those commands are in their brain already, but so much is happening. So again, consistency and having trainings throughout their entire puppyhood, teenagehood, up to like 1 to 2 years is very important to keep training them, even if they come off as already quote unquote mastering it. But yeah, guys, just remember that these are teenage dogs. They are growing, they are still learning about the world. So even if they come off as a bad dog, they're not. They just want to explore. They just don't know what is right, what is wrong. If you have actual teenagers, you might get a sense of that. But again, teenage dogs, you just have to be very patient and understanding and just being consistent with trainings. I have no doubt that you guys will get over this hump, even if it may be really hard with a teenage dog. But yeah, guys, that concludes today's short video. Let me know down below what you guys have experienced. If you have a teenage dog or have had a teenage dog, let me know down below what you observed or experienced with them. As a reminder, please hit that like button, as it really helps in the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new here, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button too, as it really means a lot to Jackson and me. Tell your dogs you love them. Jackson, I love you. Thank you for watching and have an amazing day.